Hey everyone, and welcome to Unit 5, Lesson 2, Exploration 3, and this is the last exploration of Unit 5. So what we're going to focus on here is what we call cell differentiation, which is the process of cells kind of getting their mature form and function, depending on what type of cell that's going to be and how it's going to work for the organism. Today we're going to talk about how cells differentiate in plants a little bit, but then for the most part we'll talk about how they work in mammals. So as we scroll down, this is just a kind of an idea of cell differentiation. This is a picture of a sperm cell fertilizing an egg cell, which are cells that have taken on form and function as sex cells. So as we scroll down, let's get into some of this stuff. So cell differentiation is the process by which cells become specialized for a specific structure and function during the development of a multicellular organism. And we're talking about all multicellular organisms. So every organism from reptiles and birds and animals and all types of and humans, all living organisms that are multicellular are going to have some sort of cell differentiation. So as we look down here at the plants, we've got a little highlighted area here, but first I want to show you what a plant kind of maturity looks like and how cells are going to differentiate. So zygote just means we have one cell. That's the beginning cell. It doesn't matter what type of living organism it is. It's called a zygote. So then as these go to start to divide through mitosis, you can see that they're going to start to kind of divide unevenly. But notice that this area right here, okay, is actually going to become this part of the plant, which is actually going to be pretty much everything above like the leafy part of a plant. And then this part, the basal cell, is this cell right here, and it's going to actually develop into the root system. So as we look back here, it says the topmost cells are going to become most of the embryo. So we're talking about these cells are going to become this section, which is actually become most of the plant. It talks about the basal cells are going to provide the nutrients for that embryo, but they are going to develop into the root cells. So this is kind of the development or cell differentiation of plants. But here is what it's going to look like when we become a zygote, or when we become this rat or any type of mammal. We're going to have the zygote, which is single-celled. We're going to go through mitosis, which is going to go through and create multiple cells, but they're going to kind of stick together. But then as you can see, now they're going to start to create skin and create an outer layer and create this little hollow area, but it's going to grow into an adult. So as we scroll down here, this is what we're going to look at in animals, and we as humans are no different. So it says the egg is going to go through different cell differentiation. So you can see that this cell differentiation starts really early in the maturity of the organism, where we're certainly at thousands and maybe tens of thousands of cells, but we're going to start to create these three areas. So it's going to create kind of like a hollow ball, and so this right here is going to be a hollow opening, and it's ultimately going to turn into our digestive system. Is what this is going to turn into. Excuse me. But as they're going to go, we're going to get the endoderm, right? The endoderm is going to be this area right here, okay? And then we're going to get the ectoderm. The ectoderm is kind of this top layer up here, these blue cells. Now they're not actually blue, right? In an embryo and as cells differentiate, they're not different colors. This is just for the graphic. But then we're also going to get the mesoderm, and the mesoderm is going to be this little lining. It's going to be this little lining between the two. Okay, so that's kind of special to animals as well. So it says right here, so animals such as jellyfish, they're only going to develop the top two, and that's fairly common as well. However, vertebrates, including humans, are going to have this third layer. So anything that's going to have a backbone is going to have this mesoderm layer in there. All right, as we scroll down, I want to take a look at just kind of the different types of the different types of layers and what they're going to develop into. It says here that the ectoderm develops into skin and the nervous system. It also forms a lining of organs such as the mouth. And you can see that these cells are going to create these layers, and they're going to fit together real nice. And that's why our skin is the way it is. And then when we go to the mesoderm is going to develop into bones, muscles, blood, and the connective tissue. And you can see right here how the cells are, they're going to start to take different forms. You can see that these cells are certainly a different form than these because they have a different function. This is also going to create organs such as the kidney. Okay, and then here we have the endoderm, right? Is going to form the lining of organisms in the digestive system, respiratory and excretory system. It's also going to form some glands. So as we scroll up, that's this guy right here, and this little hollow tube is going to become essentially your respiratory and digestive system. So as we scroll down here, the next thing we want to talk about are stem cells. And clicking on the 3 dots here in the textbook, stem cells are cells that can divide for long periods of time but remain undifferentiated. Remember, we talked about this in class, is that, these stem cells are essentially cells that do not have a path yet. They have not been decided what type of cell they're going to be, which is important because ultimately they can become any cells. So what we have right here is we have a stem cell, and this stem cell, they can either divide through mitosis and create more stem cells, right? But these stem cells also can, when they go through divide through mitosis, they can go and take different paths. So here we have red blood cells, here we have muscle cells, these are neurons, and here are some skin cells or epithelial cells. But what you notice is that they can take on any type of differentiation, right? And then let's talk about why that's important. Down here, I've got a highlighted section here. It says researchers studying ways to use these stem cells to create many different medical conditions because stem cells can differentiate into other types of cells, and they offer potential to repair or replace damaged tissues or cells. And the important part is that you can use these on yourself. So by donating some of your own stem cells, the doctors then have, and scientists then have, your cells. And what you don't have to worry about is those cells getting rejected. One of the biggest things with transplants is that those cells get rejected by your body. And that's why it's so important that the match, when they talk about the cells are a match or the blood is a match or whatever is a match, they're talking about the fact that your body will accept another individual's cells as their own. Well, if you can provide your own stem cells, now there's no fear of rejection. And now scientists might be able to turn them into certain types of cells and heal or replace injured or damaged cells or disease cells to where now we can start to become healthy. So this is Unit 5, Lesson 2, Exploration 3, and this is the end of Unit 5. So up next, we'll have a test. We'll get ready for our test and look forward to Unit 6. So thank you for joining me, and we will see you in class.